are listening to Proof of Love with Tatiana Morose, Dr. Stephanie Murphy, and Lauren Kasovitz. This show may contain adult content, language, and humor and is intended for mature audiences. If that's not you, please stop listening. Nothing you hear on Proof of Love is intended as financial advice, legal advice, therapy, or really anything other than entertainment. Please take everything that you hear with a grain of salt. Oh, and if you're hearing us on an affiliate network, the ideas and views expressed on this show are not necessarily those of the network that you're listening on, or of any of the sponsors or affiliate products that you may hear about on the show. Now that that's squared away, let's start the show. Show me your heart. I know that it's beating. Tell me that you love me too. So I know your heart is true. 'Cause I need some proof of love. 'Cause I need some proof of love. 'Cause I need some proof of love. This episode of Proof of Love is brought to you by Vaultoro. Vaultoro is a gold hedging solution for the crypto community. One of the challenges of investing in cryptocurrencies is dealing with volatility. Keeping a diversified portfolio is a key to healthy returns. I keep about 10% of my crypto assets in gold using Vaultoro. Vaultoro allows me to open a gold wallet in seconds where I can trade easily with cryptos and gold. What I like about using Vaultoro instead of Tether is that the gold in my Vaultoro wallet is insured, audited, vaulted in Switzerland, and unlike fiat money, gold has increased in value for the last 20 years. Visit Vaultoro.com and start today. That is vault, like a gold vault, and oro, which is Spanish for gold. Vaultoro, ole! Hello, everybody, and welcome to Proof of Love, the show that shows you how to prove your love and be a better person, a better partner, and even better to yourself. I'm joined today by my two beautiful co-hosts, Lauren Kasovitz. Hey, Lauren.
Hey, how's it going, everyone?
And the gorgeous Dr. Stephanie Murphy.
Oh, I love that. Hello. I'm so happy to be here. You know, Tatiana, I had a dream about you the other night. I didn't tell you about this yet. Do you want to hear it?
Absolutely.
So I dreamed that I was in a bathroom putting on makeup and you were talking to another girl outside the bathroom and she said, "Hey, where's Stephanie?" And you were saying, "Oh, she's in the bathroom putting on makeup, but it's not like she needs it because she's so beautiful." And I was like, "Oh my God." And and it was like, you didn't know I could hear you in the dream, but I could hear you. And I was like, that is so something Tatiana would do. She would say a nice thing about me, not even knowing that I could hear her. And that's why she's such a great friend.
Aw, that's sweet.
Isn't that sweet?
It's true. It's very true. And you know, I think about this a lot, not to be sappy, although I guess this is the right show, but I feel so lucky to have you guys as my friends. I mean, I'm really lucky in the friend department in so many different ways, but you two are so exceptional. And it's just really fun to do this show together. And I know that we can't always make it. I'm sure our audience misses Lauren because she's got this whole job thing going on.
Yeah, but she's with us today, so this is great. And it's mutual. We love you too. And this is so exciting to do a Q&A show. Our Q&A shows have been performing very well, haven't they? They've been audience favorites.
Yes, they are. And if people want to listen to more of them, they can go to Proof of Love Cast, like podcast, but lovecast.com, and they can check them all out. We've also got a lot of really good episodes on a lot of different topics. Tomorrow, we're actually taping a show with Danielle. I don't know her last name, but she does the sacred breathing thing. She's the partner of Sean Stone. Some of you may know him. He does a lot of really cool alternative content. His father's Oliver Stone, so some people might know that. But Sean is a beast in his own right. So I'm excited to have them on. But the Q&A, I think, is where all the saucy, fun stuff happens. And I think what we should do is have some of our guests weigh in on some of the Q&As because I want to hear what they have to say.
Yeah. Well, they can always comment when they're on the show if they heard a previous show. And if you have a question or comment for the show, you can contact us through our website, which is proofoflovecast.com.
Awesome.
So should we get to it?
Yeah, let's do it. Stephanie, you want to roll these puppies out? We've got some good questions today. I like the one or two.
Yes. Okay, so first on the docket, we have a question from an audience member. My good friend's boyfriend asked her to make some sexy videos at home, but she wasn't into it. She thinks last night he taped her, but in a sneaky way, without telling her. This is a serious boyfriend, but she and I both think this is a huge violation. Is this breakup worthy? From Wiretapped.
That question is a great question. And spoiler alert, I brought that in because it's a friend of mine that happened. So I have some caveats that like go along with this, additional data points, I guess. But on the surface, I posted this on Facebook and everybody went crazy. They were super angry. They're like, this guy needs to be arrested. This is illegal. And it is. And it is very, very sketchy. But a small detail is that the couple has come a long way since that conversation. It's been about 6 months, right? Since they had the no sexy video conversation. And a month before this incident occurred, they were being intimate and she took a photo of them like in the mirror. And then she immediately told him about it. She apologized that she didn't ask about it. And then to him, now in retrospect, once he was confronted about the sneaky video, which he did take the sneaky video, he said, yeah, no, super sketchy. He said that he thought it was okay because she took that photo before. But I believe that the issue is his consent. Now, while she did not
someone needs a class about consent. That's what I think. I mean,
big time.
If he did this to someone who wasn't his girlfriend, he would be like one of those perverts who goes on the train with a upskirt camera and then puts it on the internet or something. And that's just not cool, right? And it doesn't make it okay just because they're in a relationship.
No, I think there's nothing okay about this. I find this so incredibly disturbing and such a violation. It would have been horrible if he did it without asking her and never having talked about it. But adding that layer that she said to him that she was uncomfortable with it, and then he still, I mean, this is a question. Does she know for sure that he did it? Or is this just a, maybe he did it?
Oh, he 100% did it. So when she confronted him, he totally admitted, like he didn't see any problem with it whatsoever. He's like, you're my girlfriend.
Like, did he eventually?
I don't know if they ended up deleting it, but he offered to delete it. He was completely fine. He was like, what do you mean? He's like, but you took that picture the other time. And I feel like, first of all, a picture is not the same thing as a video. Like, you know what I mean? Video is super invasive. Picture, you can at least control what you look like. And also, he wasn't the one that had the issue with it in the first place. So while she should have obtained the consent, she had the good sense to be sorry, to address it with him, to immediately try and deal with it. And she never got a red light from him saying that, I mean, in fact, if anything, she got a green light from him that he wanted that, right?
Yeah, I mean, let me just say, like, everybody talks about consent nowadays, and this is a great thing, I think. The Me Too movement has raised awareness about sexual trauma and about consent, which everyone has consent violations and everyone has sexual trauma to some degree or another. And it's great that we're all talking about it more. But, like, you have to ask before taking a video like this, or even before taking a picture like this. And it doesn't have to be like a contract or something, like legal language, you know? It doesn't have to be like dry and uninspired. You can make it sexy and you can work it into the dirty talk. Hey, baby, what do you think about taking a sexy video of us tonight? You know, it doesn't have to be like, you know, some negotiation at a business table with suits or something and signing a contract. It can be just part of the dirty talk, and that's the way you get consent. And I mean, I don't know, to me, like, I want to make sure my partner is okay with whatever is going on. So checking in, the other thing they say about consent is, and I really like this phrase, consent is a movie, not a snapshot. So in other words, someone can give consent for something at a certain time in the past, but then that can evolve as new things happen or as they get more information. So you have to check in with them continuously and make sure that they're still okay with it, right? And it's possible that, you know, maybe at one point in their relationship, she was okay with being on camera naked or taking a sexy video or taking a sexy picture. But then a few weeks later, she changed her mind. Maybe she heard some stories about revenge porn, or maybe they had a big fight and they lost some trust and now she's no longer okay with it, or he's no longer okay with it. So you got to just communicate about this stuff. And it's not that hard. It doesn't require that much effort. All it does is just bring you closer together and make you have certainty about whether your partner and you are really both on board with this 100%.
I agree. And I think there's proprietary issues with saying you're my girlfriend. That makes it okay. It harkens back to me personally. Well, not personally, but just back in the day when there were laws that said a man could have sex with his wife whenever he wanted, which is rape, because she was his wife. It just, that language.
And those laws were on the books until the 1990s. I believe there was I believe there was one in America that just got nullified, so this is real, folks. It used to be like impossible to legally impossible, not from a moral perspective, but it used to be considered legally impossible to rape your wife, even if you had sex with her when she didn't want to and she was saying no, just because she was your wife.
It's so incredibly disturbing. And I don't want to say that that's anywhere near the same thing, but it's in the same arena, if those are the words and that's the language he used. But I don't know. You mentioned revenge porn, and that's what kind of like the immediate thing I thought of. Like somebody who hears that their significant other is not okay with something, does it anyway. Is that the same kind of person who's going to be totally fine when you get in a fight posting something online of it? Maybe not. Maybe he genuinely was confused and it was a mistake and he's a good guy, but maybe he is one of the, or not he, but somebody like that could be one of those guys that doesn't think it's such a big deal. Like, oh, well, you are a big B, so I'm posting this on Pornhub. Like that shit's scary. I don't know. I find the whole thing disturbing, but I also find it really disturbing that she took video of him or took a picture of him as well. I appreciate that they talked about it and worked it through, but I also have a little bit of empathy in that sense that it was probably a little bit of a confusing situation for him, which seems like at the core, there wasn't really great communication about this entire situation.
Well, so there's a couple different factors that play into this. He sneakily took the video. So he knew he was doing something wrong, right? And yet I know this guy, he's a nice guy. He like worships the ground that she walks on. But yeah, there was a total sense of entitlement. He's like, what? You're my girl. It's like, she's not like a cattle, like what are you talking about?
Well, there are a lot of confusing ideas floating around in culture about consent and what is okay and what is not. And, I don't blame anyone for being confused. It sounds like there were kind of some consent issues on both sides to one degree or another. But I mean, that's really common for people to be confused about what is consent and what do you have to ask for and what's okay and what's not. And one of those ideas that is out there that's a myth is that it's okay to do whatever if you're in a relationship with someone and you don't have to ask them every time,
Yeah, well, I'm kind of curious to see what the audience thinks about this because everybody went bananas. They were super not into it. And objectively, it's terrible what happened. But she's sticking with him. And I actually don't think that he had any intention of putting it on the internet or anything. But the problem to me is that I don't think that he's ever really truly realized what he did was wrong. I don't think he gets it. And that is a little bit of a problem. So I don't know, audience, would you break up with this guy? What do you think? Perfect guy, except that he likes to take privy pictures? I don't know.
Yeah, to me, it's an indication, it's the tip of the iceberg that this person is not really getting consent. And that would be a deal breaker.
I agree. It would be a deal breaker for me as well.
Have you guys seen the dating pool out there? I'm just saying. I think everybody loves to talk about, annihilating the other person and being like, get rid of him, report him to the cops. But I don't know. I think it's scary to leave somebody when pretty much everything else that they're doing is really nice and considerate. But I do think I would have liked to have seen a little bit of an understanding and remorse on his part to really understand what it is that he did wrong. And I didn't really see that there, but
right. For a loss of trust like this, I mean, I think I would need like a real understanding of what was going on for me when the consent was violated like that. And also immediately deleting the video, no questions asked, lots of reassurance about this will never happen again. And I understand why now. And that's why it's never going to happen again. All of us experience lots of consent violations from the time that we're little kids, give grandma a hug, right? Even if you don't feel like it. Go over there for this person. Go to school, spend all your whole day at school, even if it's boring and you don't like it. So this starts really early, and it's no wonder that people are confused about this stuff. But the great thing is now that in 2019, it's getting a lot clearer, and people are educating themselves about what consent really means, and we're going to do better.
I hope so.
And I'll do better.
I hope so too. I mean, I feel bad for everybody involved, but I think with you, I agree with what you said, Steph, and what you said, Tatiana. I think at the end of the day, it's really about trust. And can she trust him after this? If she can, good for her. If that's something that's not an issue for her and she can move past it, that's great. But I would think the majority of men and women in the same situation would have a really hard time with trust kind of across the board, not even with sexual situations, just in life. Like, I don't know. I have so many feelings about this. It just goes in so many different directions. And at the core, it's really about trust and understanding and empathy. And not having that empathy in a situation like that, just for me personally, makes me very, very uncomfortable.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't think anybody was left comfortable with that. So stop wiretapping your girlfriend, bro.
Right.
She's happy to give that extra free. Like, you don't need to tape her. You could just have it whenever you want. Anyway,
Exactly. So should we move on to the next question?
I think we're ready.
All right. Sexy pregnancy pics, do or don't?
I hate
And
them.
we need to give more context on this question. Okay, so there are people who, pregnant women or pregnant people who post them pictures of themselves in a professional photo shoot that makes them feel like a goddess and makes them feel really beautiful. And sometimes they share those pics publicly and post them on Instagram. Sometimes the father's in the picture, sometimes not. But this seems to be, something that's been going on for a long time. I think before Instagram, people were doing like glamour shots kind of thing and sharing it with their friends maybe, or putting it in their house. And, people have opinions about this apparently, because we got a question about it.
Should we talk about the kind of like big originator of this? The
No.
Demi Moore on the cover of Vanity Fair in the 90s?
Yes. Oh, definitely. Let's talk about that. Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
Demi Moore did a photo shoot when she was pregnant in the 90s, and she was on
Annie
the cover
Leibovitz. Yep.
of
Vanity Fair.
Right. Yeah. You talk about it, Lauren. Tell the story.
Well, I distinctly remember this because we were all at that age where we were still kids, but kind of like going through puberty, but still young enough to not really understand the controversy. And Annie Leibovitz is a really famous, well-known, renowned photographer. She does beautiful work. Demi Moore was probably at the peak of her fame at that point. And she had this cover of Vanity Fair, really kind of big, important magazine in a lot of circles, where she was pregnant, holding the baby bump, baby pregnancy, whatever. She was probably 8-9 months pregnant. She was very pregnant. And
it was a sexy picture.
It was sexy. It was also beautiful. I mean, the way it was shot was gorgeous, but holy moly, I remember that kicking off just such a media frenzy. People went bonkers about it. And it was...
Yeah, that was a shitstorm. Oh my God. I remember seeing this cover, and for me, maybe I'm just a pervert, but for me, like, I remember seeing this cover in the grocery store and being like, holy shit, she is so beautiful. Oh my God. This is making me feel things that I probably shouldn't be feeling.
But that's interesting. But Steph, that's the perfect point. I think what you just said is so perfect to this conversation and this question, because is that what we want? Is that something that makes people uncomfortable? Because pregnancy is beautiful and a lot of people find it incredibly sexy. It's giving life and it's like female at her full ripeness and all that jazz. But a lot of people find it distasteful and uncomfortable. And I'm curious, because Tatiana, I know you really dislike them. I'm curious why. Like, what kind of like, what's at the core where you're like, oh, gross?
So I actually think it's quite an interesting thing. I feel like I'm being almost a bad feminist because you're right. It is the peak of female sexuality. I mean, what would be more sexual than a woman that's been knocked up, right? I mean, that's the point of sex. But to me, I think it's so tacky. I want to rip my eyes out when I see it. I think it's disgusting. I feel like you're a mom. Put it away. Look, if you want to have a baby bump picture, fine. But when you start looking like you're a porno person, I don't like the idea of her titillating people in that state of, man, I sound like a religious nutball. I feel like it's gross. I can't.
Well, are you saying that are you saying that like your average woman is not Demi Moore and shouldn't be trying to be?
I don't think it was great when Demi Moore did it either. I think everybody doing it is gross. They should put some clothes on and act like a mom. But
that's the thing. Act like a mom.
Yeah, that's the big
100%. I realize that I'm an a-hole for having this position. That's why I'm a little bit, but I don't care. I just want
you have a belief that moms should not be sexy. Is that right? Mothers are not sexy.
So when being confronted by the reality of my belief, I realized that it is kind of effed up. But yes, I do think that. I feel like a mom can be sexy after she has her baby, but you have a living being in there. Put it away, lady. Like you're a big hoe the rest of the time, just kind of just keep it together while you've got a big fat little like gremlin in there sucking out your big life force.
Okay.
There's something sexy about that.
Wait, can I, well, I don't know if I want to bring this up in here, but that also kind of comes to people finding it really, really gross when women breastfeed in public because the boob is out. Do you have an issue with that? Or is it more that pregnancy having that, having that living being inside? Because you did mention you're okay with them being sexy once the baby's out.
So I'm not crazy about public breastfeeding because I think that some women use it. Okay, wow. I'm like confronting my inner feelings about this, but I feel like they use it as a way to titillate men. And to me, it's like your baby and sex don't belong together. Like you shouldn't be trying to titillate a guy with your big engorged boob. You know what I mean? Like with like a baby on it. Like that's how it's supposed to be attached to your large engorged boob when trying to like titillate somebody. It should be a grown person, not your baby. I don't know. Like the baby doesn't belong in the sex scene.
Can a woman who's feeding her baby help it if a man is titillated by that?
She could put a modesty cloth on. I think some women do it with a purpose of titillating. There's also the weird, creepy perverts, which to me, wouldn't you feel some sort of a sense of protection over your baby, over the sanctity of your union with your husband that you just made a new being with? Do you really need to get that juice from all these other hornballs? I mean, these guys jerking off to your boobs if you've got a baby on it, like what the hell is wrong with people? It's so gross. I can't take it.
Well, I will speak as a weird, creepy pervert on that side, but a weird, creepy pervert with boundaries. I think this is very sexy, and I've been excited about it since I saw this picture of Demi Moore. And thank you, Lauren, for reminding me about that because that goes back pretty far into the 90s. I just think it's like it is the peak of femininity. And I find femininity very beautiful and exciting, and it's something to celebrate. And yeah, this is part of the circle of life. This is just like we all came from a pregnant woman, right? And let's honor our moms by treating them like the goddesses that they are, I guess. I mean,
do they have to be sexy goddesses? Can't they just be regular goddesses?
Yeah, because sex is why we're all here, right? That's how we all got here, unless we were like an in vitro fertilization. But, sex is part of the circle of life. And so why not celebrate it? Like, I think I felt uncomfortable about the things that I was feeling when I saw pictures like this at first, because I wasn't really having self-acceptance, I think, about what I find sexy and about really my own femininity, right? And my own attraction to femininity. That was making me uncomfortable because being attracted to a pregnant woman or finding her beautiful was highlighting the fact that I am a woman and I'm also attracted to femininity. And once I had self-acceptance about that, I can say that with no problem on a podcast like this. But that wasn't always the case. And this is why it makes people uncomfortable, right? Because it brings up something for them that they're maybe not accepting about themselves or they're uncomfortable with because, they have some beliefs or something that's holding them back. Sorry, Tatiana, I'm not trying to say anything negative about you, but for me, I think this was about self-acceptance. And once I accepted my own perversion, it's no big deal.
Well, there's one specific point that I wanted to bring up as well, because when I examine my feelings about this, I'm actually kind of like a jerk in a way, right? I still stand behind them and I feel very passionately, but I'm realizing, let's say you're a pregnant chick, right? And you're all big and you're all feeling all fat and stuff. If you can find a way to love yourself in that and then still feel sexy, I kind of have to be like, all right, why am I a hater? You know what I mean? Like this poor chick, she's feeding this kid, she's getting all fat, she's ruining her body. And if she wants to feel sexy for 5 minutes, then I guess what I don't like about it is sharing it on Instagram and putting it in everybody's face.
I was just going to bring that
up. About that. Go ahead, Laura.
No, I was just going to bring that up. And I think that's such a great point. I think having the videos is wonderful, or the pictures is wonderful if that's what you want to do. And it makes you feel sexy, or your partner thinks you're absolutely gorgeous when you're pregnant, whatever the reason is, that's great. I'm also a little bit uncomfortable with posting that on social media. But then again, I'm also uncomfortable with people posting half-naked photos regularly on Instagram and Facebook. Anyway, I'm uncomfortable with people posting pictures of their kids in the bathtub on Facebook. I think there's a deeper issue with that there that we can explore further. But I think that just harkens to the whole look at me and not really realizing the repercussions or the type of people that may be looking, because there could be plenty of people that are looking at these photos and thinking, well, that's beautiful. Like, or I'm attracted to her, but that's it.
Well, there's also a dirty old...
Right, the perverts with boundaries. Right, there's the perverts with boundaries like me, and then there's the perverts without boundaries.
Are you okay? Wait, but are you guys okay with perverts that you find... Like, to me, I don't want somebody that I find unattractive to be, like, fapping it to me. I think that's really disgusting. It freaks me out.
Well, but that's the thing. You can't help it, Tatiana. There's probably people that look at your website or the professional pictures of you that are totally professional headshots, or they listen to your music and they're just so turned on that they can't help themselves. And maybe you don't know about that unless they tell you, which would be definitely overstepping a boundary. But, you know, people are going to do that anyway. If you're just a sexy woman walking around and being all hot, people are going to be turned on by you. And hopefully they keep it to themselves. It's sort of like the social contract where you can perv out, but just be discreet about it, right? And don't make the other people uncomfortable, right? But the thing is, we can't stop other people from being turned on by us, even if we don't want it.
I'm like a Puritan. I don't want them to have dirty thoughts at all, but it is pretty natural. I can't even believe who I am.
No, it is natural. And it also, I mean, I've dated guys who thought that pregnancy was really sexy, and I'm endlessly amazed by it and surprised. But for them, they've specifically said they thought pregnancy or they would imagine that pregnancy in the person that they actually impregnated was sexy. So I think it's a different kind of turn on there as well, as the guys who just, or women who are just, like you said, fopping it to sexy pregnant photo.
Doing the she-bop. Let's go back to the 80s. Cyndi Lauper.
It's true. I think there's just so many layers to it. It just comes down to sexuality. There's so many layers to sexuality. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I want to know what our audience thinks. I feel like people are going to be, I think there's going to be a whole bunch of sexy moms that are going to freak out and be super mad. I'm sorry, ladies, but seriously, put those boobies away.
Okay, and I'm here to say the opposite. Keep them out. Keep them coming. I don't even use Instagram, but I will always see those pictures and I will say, "You're a goddess. Keep going. You go, girl."
Well, I'm going to see. Maybe I'll end up evolving on this. Maybe one day I'll be pregnant and you guys will see me in my Demi Moore recreation. And I'll be, people will be citing this episode, calling me a hypocrite.
All right. So our next question, from the feminine to the masculine, our next question is, to beard or not to beard? Now we're going to talk about a couple of different topics within this question. We want to talk about the science behind what makes a sexy beard. Are they carrying dirt or germs? And should your partner have a say in how you groom your facial hair? So let's take the first one. What do you ladies think? To you, what makes a sexy beard? And do you find facial hair sexy at all? Someone said, "Oh."
I'm ready for this
sexy beard, and then I'm going to talk about the science behind it, because there is actual science.
So if you guys are okay, I'll start, since I'm very passionate about beards. I've been very passionate about beards since way before they were a phenomenon and a kind of like hipster situation. I love beards. I absolutely love them. My fiance has one. When I met him, he did not have a beard. And last summer, when I came to visit before I moved back, we thought it would be interesting for him to shave his beard and for me to be reminded of what he looked like when we first met. And he looked gorgeous. I mean, he's gorgeous. He looked gorgeous without the beard, but I don't know what it was. He looked so baby-faced to me that he was still hot. I was still attracted to him. But as he started growing it back, it was almost like immediate that I was more attracted to him. It just, something about a nice beard just reads masculinity to me so strongly. And I don't like the straggly beards. I don't like the patchy beards. I'm definitely a beard snob. They have to be, full and delicious, but I'm not into that whole like long beard. I don't want food to be stuck in the beard. Like, that's just so nasty to me. But if somebody has
Is anyone attracted to a beard with stuck in it?
But some people really like the longer beards. Those were a big thing for a while, like the big, long, like lumberjack beard. Not into it. I like the old school, close to the face, trimmed back, but full, just beard. Oh, I love it. I think for me, it just very strongly reads masculinity and outdoorsy. And this is pre the beard phenomenon. I'm just talking about like that gut thing. I've liked it since I was younger. I don't know, it just reads really manly to me. And there's nothing, I think, just piggybacking on that, because I'm getting overly passionate and turned on talking about beards. I also think equal to a really nice kind of cut back thick beard is that really hot 5 o'clock shadow. That is also equally as hot to me. The baby face thing, some guys look amazing with it. They're still really sexy, but I'm always going to like a little bit of a shadow. What do you guys think? I know what Tatiana thinks.
I have so many strong feelings about beards. I think I've posted at least 5 different, I don't repeat posts on Facebook, but it has impassioned me so many times to write anti-beard posts because it's so trendy right now. I like a baby face. I like a clean shaven face. I feel like beards are horrible. I'm just waiting for the trend to die. I feel like they look like a little fur ball. You make out with somebody, they like, I don't know. It's just horrible. It's like making out with a pet. That being said, I recently started dating somebody who has a beard and I'm accepting of it. It has not grossed me out so far. But I remember when I first saw him, I thought to myself, man, that guy would be so good looking, but why does he have to have a beard? And I was audibly complaining to my friends about how beards are ruining America. So if you want to get with me, get rid of that furball face. But yeah, that's pretty much my theory on it. 5 o'clock shadow, aces. If it's a trimmed beard, I can deal with it. But like, I don't know. Don't you feel like you're getting their little furry mouth? Like, I don't know. I don't want to make out with a furry thing. It's just
so. Why does this guy get away with it? Like, is his beard not as offensive, or is it his personality that you like?
I like the guy. So okay. I don't know. Somehow the beard doesn't really bother me, which is surprising because I have such a horrible reaction. I dated one other guy who had a beard. And by the way, this guy's beard is like normal. It's not, crazy town or anything. It's pretty neat, normal. The other guy that I was dating had a beard like a homeless person. And it was so disgusting, but I liked the guy, so I got over it. But yeah, that's basically, I feel like they're horrible and I wish that they would go away. But if you're the right guy, men have a very, like they really love their beards. And I think that it's sort of an expression of their personality. So what I've learned is you can't complain about their beards because then they'll definitely stick around for much, much longer. And so therefore I'm keeping my no beard policy to myself, and hopefully he's not listening to this episode and digging his heels in more deeply. So yeah, that's my opinion. Steph?
Well, yeah, I like what you said about this is one of the only ways they can express themselves, right? Like fashion for men is not that, there's kind of a limited range, right? Like unless you're some kind of really metrosexual guy, like there's not that many options for expressing yourself through the way you look. So beards are one way that a lot of people do it. But I'm wondering, Tatiana, does it become less important to you over time? Like, is it mostly important in the beginning when you're mostly don't know the person and you're focused on looks? Or is it always just as important throughout the whole relationship?
Well, I think case in point shows that it isn't important later on. I might grumble and wish that it wasn't there, but it's not going to stop me from, making out or dating a guy. Although, yeah, basically, let's say I'm going on like a dating app or something. If they have a beard, they're immediately eliminated. Like this beard
so
guys have to, yeah, like I'm swiping left on the beard without discernment. I just see a beard and I run the other direction. Wow. So, but I know a lot of chicks are really into it. Some girls, they go crazy. Look at Lauren.
Well, I think it's interesting because you did mention that you like the baby face. So I think there's different things we're attracted to. I think it also could come down to you appreciating a guy who looks maybe more youthful. Maybe that's like more sexually stimulating for you.
I don't know, but I want to ask you guys a question. Do your dads have beards? And Steph, do you even have
important.
Yeah, because I think it is important. Like my daddy has a mustache, which is like, not something that I'm looking for on anybody. But I feel like mustaches are okay for dads, not for like the porn mustache, like, but just like a dorky dad mustache. I feel like that's appropriate. But my father also kind of was like more youthful looking. You know what I mean? Lauren, does your dad have a beard? And Steph, you have no opinion on this. I'm not getting a.
No, I'm going to say my opinion, but I'm waiting.
Oh, sorry. Okay, go ahead.
So, no, growing up, same with me, with my dad, he had a mustache in the 80s because that was like, the thing. And he would
a
grow
cop mustache? Like what kind of mustache?
No, like a normal dad like a normal 80s dad like a Tom Selleck mustache kind of thing.
Okay.
Like,
it's popular.
That it was just normal. But I do remember, and it's funny you bring this up, but every once in a while, my dad would shave his mustache, and I'm talking like once every 2 years, and I don't like mustaches on men. I'm not into it, but it would freak me out. I would be like, I didn't recognize him. It made me really uncomfortable. And he would grow a beard on occasion in the winter, but he mostly was just like clean shaven with a mustache, and he has facial hair now, but he was never like beardy all the time. No.
Interesting.
Okay. So my opinion personally, first of all, my dad shaved every day. Like he was shaving and he would regrow stubble by the end of the day. Like he was a very heavy beard grower. And I remember when I was a little kid, like rubbing up against his face and saying like, "Ooh, scratchy," or something like that. And I had this book when I was a little kid. The book was called Pat the Bunny, and this book still exists. Okay, so if you have friends and they're having a baby shower, if they're posting their sexy pregnancy pics online and they're about to pop and they're about to have a baby shower, get their kid this book called Pat the Bunny, because kids love this book. I get this for all my friends who have kids. And the book is so cool because it has different textures. Okay, so the book is about like a bunny and then other things. And then you can actually touch like fur that's inside that's glued to the page, and you can pat the bunny. And so one of the things in this book was Dad's beard. And Dad's beard was represented by sandpaper.
That
And
makes sense.
and then I would touch it and I would be like, "Ooh, this is just like my actual dad's beard. It feels like sandpaper." So that was my experience with beards when I was a child. Now, as an adult, I've dated different people with different facial hair. I don't think there's really much of a pattern. Like, I would say that if it feels scratchy to me, I don't like that, and I would ask my partners to shave sometimes. But I really like the look of a guy with kind of a short beard, not like ZZ Top, but like a short beard. And this is actually what the science says. So I'm going to read you a study. Last year, a team of researchers from Australia published a study in the Journal of Evolutionary Biology that sought to investigate the relationships between facial hair, masculinity, and attractiveness in short and long-term relationships. More than 9,000 women rated a selection of photos of men's faces, some of which have been altered to make the subjects appear more masculine or more feminine. And then they were asked to consider sexual attractiveness for a short-term relationship, a long-term relationship, and with no relationship status indicated. So, okay, they're asking 9,000 women, do you find this guy attractive for like a one-night stand, for a marriage, or just in general? Okay, and so here's the results. Participants thought that men sporting heavy stubble, that is 10 days of beard growth since they shaved, were the most attractive.
Agree.
Okay, yeah, I agree too, I think. Followed by men sporting light stubble, 5 days of regrowth. And then relationship context also played a part in how attractive women found the subjects. In short, women preferred light and heavy stubble when considering the subject for a fling, but gravitated toward fully bearded men as they contemplated who they'd be willing to make babies with. So fascinating research.
That is so fascinating. And I think I'd be one of those women that agreed. I mean, you were talking about scratchy beards, and while that the 1 day stubble or the 2 day stubble looks great, it feels horrible. Like that's just, yes. It doesn't feel good. It always like makes your chin all raw, but that like,
not cute.
Right? it's ugh. But the 10-day stubble or the like short beard that's soft, oh my God, it's so sexy. I don't
All
know.
right, Lauren, simmer down over there.
I love it. I think it does read. There's something about it that gives that old school feel of masculinity, but also for me personally, and I don't know where it comes from, feels comforting. I don't know if maybe it's that I see a guy who's so overly groomed every day and I'm like, ick, because I don't want to have to keep up with that. I don't know.
Metro is not my bag either, for the record. I don't want a guy who spends more time in front of the mirror than me. It's no bueno.
So you don't want him to put like beard oil on? Because there's some guys that make their beard softer by putting like oil on it and things like that.
No, that's nice.
Seems considerate. Yeah, that guy seems
that's
nice.
nice. Yeah.
So beard oil is okay. It should just be soft. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, soft and neat. And I think it comes down to what a lot of people are attracted to in women and men, like to look neat and clean and fresh and hygienic, at least for me.
Well, that's a great segue into the next part of this question. The question of, are they dirty or are they carrying germs? Do you ladies want me to tackle that?
They are. Of course they are. Come on, give me a break. How could you not make it dirty? It's right by your mouth.
Well, that's true. I mean, hair is actually acts like a magnet for bacteria. So that means the hair on any part of your body. And, with the beard, it's hair around the mouth, and it's possible that it could collect food particles. Like we've all had this vision of Santa Claus with like crumbs in his beard from the Christmas cookies, right? Ew. But, that said, it's not impossible to keep a beard clean, and it doesn't mean it's like definitely dirty or anything like that. The other thing that hair does is it kind of holds in and traps pheromones, right? So it gives you like information about how the person smells. And that's important when you're choosing a mate from the perspective that we're all animals and that we're going on things like smell to choose our mate.
Oh, that's interesting. I never really thought about it in that way. That makes sense.
I'm beginning to like this dude's beard more as time goes on.
I think it's just, I know that beards are so trendy right now and they have been for a while. It's almost, I was thinking about it the other day. I was watching some show and every guy had a beard, every single guy. And I was like, oh God, this is going to be like the 70s when people look back and they're like, why did everyone have those horrible handlebar mustaches and mutton chops and all that stuff? And women probably found it sexy then. But I think just going before the trend, and for those of us who just like innately find beard sexy, I think there is something kind of like warm and stable looking about a guy who has a beard. I don't know. Maybe it's like a maturity thing. I've never been into way older guys. That's never been my bag, but it feels like a solid dude. I don't know how to explain it.
So you're fitting in with the women in the study. Do you ladies think that a beard makes a man look older or more mature, maybe?
Yes. 100%. Yes.
I feel like they can be a little bit daddish or like ZZ Top. You know what I mean? Either of those two things are not hot for me. I'm just saying.
Is ZZ Top a dad?
I don't know, but he's got that long scraggly thing. That's what I think of when I think of a beard. But this is making me like beards more.
See, this is good.
Short beard. Yeah, you like the neat. Not like is a heavy word to say. You like.
Thank you. I like the caveat that you made there. I find it tolerable.
Yes, it's tolerable.
Yeah, I think it just depends on the guy. What if they wash their face every single time they eat and really like get in there? That would probably make me like it better. But I wouldn't even know how to check that out. I
wonder about women that are attracted to that big kind of epic beard, because a lot of guys do have those. I mean, I lived in Brooklyn. I would see the whole, like, what did they call it? It was like a lumberjack look, but I think it was like Metro Jack or something. I don't know. They had a word.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I remember that.
We're beyond hipster now at this point. It's Metro Jack.
It was like those guys that are really into like style and fashion, and they were using their beards are using their beards as a way to reflect that. Imagine a guy in like a super fitted plaid shirt with suspenders and combat boots and a big crazy beard and like that short kind of like, you know what I'm talking about, that short haircut that's long on top and
so annoying.
Yeah, it's the full like aggressive Brooklyn hipster look, which I admittedly at times was like, ooh, I like it. It's not my style, but I did like it at times. I wonder about the women that are super attracted to that look, because that wouldn't stick around on men if there weren't women that were into it.
That's
True.
a good point.
Yeah.
So I wonder what those women, like when they see a big, long, like shiny, neat, but big, long beard, what do they see? Like, what is that turn on
Maybe
for
they
them?
see manliness. They like the testosterone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or maybe,
to me, when I see a big beard like that, especially like a magnificent beard, to me that says, I don't give a rat's ass what you think. I am
yeah.
growing my beard as a self-expression, and this is me. This is who I am. You can take me or leave me. And some women find that really attractive.
Yes, agreed. I think a lot of women find that kind of self-expression really sexy in a man.
So I think that Stephanie took it as a fashion statement, but I just wanted to add this on. The original beard that was horrible, that looked like a homeless person's, that guy actually was bearded when he was depressed. So I think that sometimes when men are depressed and they kind of want to hide themselves, they make themselves have a big shaggy beard because it makes them feel less noticeable. That was what happened with him. Because then when he lost some weight and he started feeling good about himself, that beard was gone. And he was perfectly happy with it. Whereas when I said to him, can you please shave this beard? In fact, begging repeatedly to no avail, he was not having it at all. And that takes us to the third point is, can we as women put in these demands? And how does that correlate to shaving your legs?
Well,
Right?
that's a great
Like if you're not going to shave your face, I'm not going to shave my pits. How about them apples? I mean, I'm not going to do that. Don't worry.
I mean, if you're in a relationship and you really dislike a beard and they really dislike your leg hair, maybe you come to a compromise. I don't know. I don't know. What do you guys think? That's tough because there's definitely preferences we have with our looks and the way our partners like us to look. I mean, I have naturally very, very curly hair, and I love how my hair looks all straight and bouncy. And my fiance likes it straight and bouncy, but he has straight hair and he is super turned on when my hair's curly, which is, I think, very rare.
I don't think I've ever seen your hair curly.
Yeah, my hair's
either.
It's super curly, crazy naturally curly. And when he saw a picture of it, he was like, oh my God, this is so hot. It's you. He was like, this is what you look like naturally. It's so sexy. So I'll wear it curly for him sometimes, but I personally like how I look better with it straight. We compromise on it. I don't know. I think that's an interesting topic.
What do you think,
Yeah,
Steph?
I think relationships are a give and take, and it's okay to have preferences and express to your partner that, you'd like to see them like try this look or something as long as they're comfortable with it. But I don't think you should get into a relationship with someone and then immediately start saying, oh, you would be so beautiful if only you changed this about your appearance.
Agreed.
No, that's a red flag.
Nobody likes that feeling.
No.
Oh man, now I have to keep my mouth shut. Damn it.
No, I mean, I think when you get into a relationship with someone, it's okay to maybe make suggestions, but always along with that saying, I like you for who you are. And so what's on the outside is second to that, right? But I think it would be cool if you tried this. If you want to, I would like to see that on you. But if you don't want to do that, that's also okay. And
Totally agree. Yeah.
That's what I've said to my partners when making suggestions about their appearance. I also know that, some people are really sensitive to that. Like they don't want their appearance. Maybe they've had experiences in the past where their partner was trying to kind of control them through controlling their appearance. And that definitely happens. So you got to be careful of that and be aware of your partner's history, but it is an individual thing.
Am I still allowed to have a preference? Now I feel guilty.
Yes. I mean, I think it comes down to any kind of preference, right? Like I kind of prefer a little bit longer hair on a guy, but I also really like a buzz cut if a guy's super hot. I'm not going to ask a guy who has mid-length hair, like a normal haircut, who I find amazing, to grow his hair out long because I like it. I may mention I love long hair. If he wants to grow it out to see how it looks on him, cool. I may mention I think buzz cuts are really sexy. I would never ask someone to buzz cut their hair because I think it's hot. You know what I mean? I think it comes down either way. Like a guy could be dating a girl who's a blonde. I've had guys that I've dated who were not into blondes, who almost exclusively dated dark skinned, dark haired, dark eyed girls. And that's made me really self-conscious. Is if they had said, oh, you look so much better with a tan, I would have probably cried myself to sleep and broken up with them. So I think you have to be you have to be sensitive to your partner, what turns you on. I mean, you're with them because they turn you on in some way. So you can hold the preferences that you have for other things and still appreciate what they have, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I've surprised myself in the past by becoming attracted to someone through getting to know them that I didn't find physically attractive at first because of something about their appearance that was different than my preference, right? So whether it's a woman with short hair and I prefer long hair on women, or whether it's a man who has no hair, both of those things happened to me in the past. And as I got to know the person, I became attracted to them, and I was kind of surprised because I'm not usually initially attracted to someone who has that look. So if you open your mind, you can expand your dating pool and also expand your consciousness.
Agreed. Look at Tatiana. She's doing it right now. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I kind of like it. Now I'm like, what would it look without? I'm like, what else? I don't even want to know.
Oh, I love hearing that.
I'm like, I want to know a little bit, but like not so much, you know what I mean? Compared to my original reaction of extraordinary hatred and rage at the trends of modern times, I feel like we've come a long way just in this episode alone.
Right on. We are growing and changing before your very eyes. So I think we have to wrap up soon, but if you have a question for the show, don't forget to go to our website, which is proofoflovecast.com. Let us know, send us an email. And while you're at it, why not share the show with your friends?
Yeah, tell your friends, guys. We are trying to get the word out there. We're trying to spread the love. So you guys should do the same. Share this. We're on social media. Send in your questions. We love you all. Thanks to our sponsors, Altangent Labs, which has the beautiful blocktap.io. Check that out. And also Voltoro, my buddies over there, gold and Bitcoin. How can you lose? Awesome. Thanks everybody for listening in, and we'll see you next time. Fridays, shows are always out on Fridays. So take a listen at proofoflovecast.com. If you have a project that needs reliable cryptocurrency data, check out blocktap.io. Blocktap.io is a universal cryptocurrency API. You can get historical prices for Bitcoin and other digital assets that you can use to build charts and do market analysis. Blockchain data is also indexed so you can get transaction statistics, address balances, and more for Bitcoin and other networks. Blocktap.io is free for personal use, and you don't even need to create an account to access the API. To get started, try some of the example queries on the homepage at blocktap.io. Show me your heart. I know that it's beating. Tell me that you love me too. So I know your heart is true. 'Cause I need some proof of love. 'Cause I need some proof of love. 'Cause I need some proof of love. Do you like cryptocurrency, politics, economics, activism, or art? Then check out the Tatiana Show, where you can learn all about it in a fun and non-intimidating way, as if you're just hanging with friends. Go to thetatianashow.com and listen now. Thank you for listening to Proof of Love. Please follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Proof of Lovecast. More episodes can be found at proofoflovecast.com. And make sure you leave a review on iTunes and tell your friends. Proof of Love has been brought to you by CryptoMediaHub.com, a boutique marketing and PR agency for Bitcoin and beyond.